because my next guest just testified before a federal grand jury. He says he was in possession of a trove of digital evidence from Diddy's freak-offs and parties. His name is Courtney Burgess, and he says a friend gave him 11 flash drives that belonged to the late Kim Porter. And if you follow this story, you'll know that Kim Porter is Diddy's ex-girlfriend and the mother of 4 of his kids. On those drives, the witness says 8 videos featured 8 celebrities at Diddy freak-offs or parties, and that 6 were males, 2 were females.
Can you talk about what you saw on these flash drives?
Of those 8 videos, 8 celebrities, 6 men and 2 women, how many of those 8 celebrities were close to being underage or potentially underage?
2 men.
The cassettes are out, so everyone, please assemble. To be honest, I still can't get over what Courtney Burgess said about J-Lo. In a desperate attempt to stop Courtney from leaking additional information, Diddy's team is pleading with the courts to gag him. In the meantime, Diddy's family is attempting to salvage face on his birthday by executing every possible public relations gimmick. But let's face it, the man is, at this point, completely broken. Imagine the humiliation of eating with kings and then in prison, munching on some undercooked, unseasoned chicken. It is quite embarrassing for someone who was once a role model for many. As you can see, I have a lot to catch up on, so let's go straight into one of the most sinister topics I've ever discussed. For years, Diddy was known to everyone as a huge boss who threw a flawless party, but his darker side has now shown. What Courtney Burgess said during his recent testimony before a federal grand jury is really unsettling. It appears that this man has 11 flash drives filled with graphic video from Diddy's alleged celebrity freak-off. But this is when things started to take a turn for the worse.
Very special guest today, Courtney B. And Courtney B is a entertainment manager, and he has quite a resume. Courtney, you want to give us a little bit of rundown of some of the artists you've worked with?
We're talking about situations where people were so vulnerable with some celebrities that they were completely unaware of what was happening. Courtney says that on these tapes, people are unconscious and appear completely dazed, but the cameras are still rolling. You see, for a long time, people have blamed these celebrities for covering for Diddy. However, Courtney's shocking revelation shows that not only were these celebrities filmed without their consent, but they were also unknowingly intoxicated. Let that sink in. According to Courtney, all 8 individuals on the recording seemed to have been harmed and were allegedly in a vulnerable state. However, it becomes even darker. Courtney alluded to the fact that part of the video also features covert filming in places where complete seclusion is expected.
The 8 celebrities who were recorded having intimate relations with Sean Combs, how many of them appeared to be either inebriated or intoxicated or under the influence?
All of them. All of them.
For example, imagine using the restroom without realizing a covert camera is recording. The idea that someone would abuse individuals and then violate their privacy in this way is horrifying and completely twisted.
Are there any cameras in places where you'd assume privacy, like bathrooms?
Well, I've never been in this house, but the picture, yes. That's what it took.
As I mentioned before, this will go down in history. It is quite upsetting. Imagine attending an elite party and then learning later that you were surreptitiously videotaped and that there are films of you in someone else's possession. The strange thing is that Diddy has previously been seen boasting about how wild his parties are on social media. In old party video footage, Diddy is seen beaming broadly and saying, "This is what happens when you come to my parties." There's a man lying on the ground, completely unconscious and possibly suffocating. Yes, Diddy was proud of that kind of stuff. It's absurdly bold.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, for all those in London that don't know what happens to the white man when he comes to a P. Diddy party, this is what happens to the white man.
It's so unfortunate.
You gotta pull back though, so they can see. That's crazy. Matt, move out the way. You're still alive. Look at that. Look. Would you?
There's a drink on his head.
And that's James from Simeon Mobile Disco. He is a actual DJs aren't supposed to pass out, but when they come to one of my parties, this is what happens to him. I put him to sleep.
Next day.
You put the drink on his head.
There you go. There it is.
Before we go too far, let's pull it back a little, everyone. The question of who this Burgess person is and how he obtained these damaging videos has been raised by everyone. This is where things get complicated because it turns out that Courtney Borges is more than just a random man making claims. It turns out that this individual has worked with industry icons like Tupac and Nelly for 35 years. Clout is not why he's here. He has personal experience with Diddy and is well versed in his field. And believe me when I say that Courtney has some very close relationships. This man is Frank Lucas's godson. Yes, the notorious Kingpin. Who else did you think was close to Frank? Melvin, Diddy's father. I mean, Courtney and Diddy have been at odds for decades. We're talking about decades of hidden truths coming to light, not simply business turmoil. Frank and Diddy's father were apparently involved in some big business back in the day. According to Courtney, Frank used to identify Diddy as Melvin's son after his father passed away. They all have family connections, know each other, everything. However, because Courtney isn't holding back anymore, whatever respect might have existed is completely lost. He claims to have witnessed Diddy's transformation from the aspirational young man to, quote, Lucifer. He is so repulsed by Diddy's transformation, and to be honest, I'm beginning to see why. You might wonder what's on these cassettes. According to Courtney, one of the 11 recordings features 8 celebrities, 6 men, and 2 women who were reportedly victims at these parties, at least 2 of whom were minors at the time. And it doesn't end there. Courtney claims that all of these celebrities were so engrossed in something that they were unable to comprehend what was going on around them. These tapes supposedly capture times when individuals were too intoxicated to be aware that they were being recorded. As if this whole situation weren't twisted enough, Courtney allegedly mentions certain celebrities on the videos in an interview discovered by another YouTuber called Too Strong. Let me tell you, it's not just a list of names. We're talking about footage with names like J-Lo, who was allegedly caught on camera using certain self-pleasuring items, to Kevin Hart, who appeared to be completely out of it. Then there's LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, and even Will Smith's son. My heart actually sank when I heard about LeBron James, but y'all, the list goes on. These are major players in the music industry and Hollywood you would never imagine. Furthermore, the stories only grow worse. In my opinion, Hollywood is not prepared for this kind of publicity, and Courtney is out here recounting events in which some of the top stars in the industry were doing unthinkable things.
J-Lo jabbing herself with a dip or some type of object. I seen one had Game the rapper walked around, then he had a party, and Justin had to be no more than 15 or 16. Could have been 16, he would say happy birthday. And the bottle was in his hand, with nobody drink out of it, but he gave it to Justin. When Justin drunk it, he was gone.
Is that the one when he dropped down to his knees to drink it first, like he was doing some kind?
Right.
What was up with the dropping down to the knees? Was that a ritual or just?
My thoughts, I don't know what was in the bottle, but I believe it probably could have been GHB. That's a tranquilizer. You know, if you drink that, I could say go to the bank and withdraw your money out. You go to the bank and withdraw your money out.
Right. You under my control now.
It's understandable why Hollywood is frightened. According to Courtney, they are frantically attempting to buy their way out of this predicament by spending money to avoid being implicated. He claims that if these videos are made public, the entire industry would be destroyed. And they ought to be concerned, let's face it. You can't just ignore these kinds of issues, and Courtney's testimony is exposing a whole new level of secrets in Hollywood's closet. To put it briefly, these videos show some well-known people in awkward circumstances, and nobody wants that kind of material to be public. Courtney claimed he was unable to watch the entire footage because it was so repulsive. He said he had to turn his head away from several scenes. It's that awful. Just so you know, this isn't just a little back-and-forth rumor. Federal marshals got involved because it's serious enough. Yes, federal officials were so interested in Courtney's allegations that they actually served him with subpoenas at several of his homes.
That I see all the parties, all the stuff. I didn't watch too much of it because 2 men have 3 and I ain't into watching men having sex. So I was watching a man have sex.
So you actually had the physical drives.
Yes.
The fact that they even went to this extent demonstrates how seriously they take this, even though Courtney claims he wasn't formally raided. The federal government doesn't simply step in unless there are some substantial issues at stake, after all. As if that weren't enough, Courtney also had a book reportedly written by Diddy's ex-girlfriend Kim Porter, who was also the mother of his 3 children.
Your home was raided by federal authorities, and I assume it is because of this material. Is that true?
I wouldn't say that. They just went to every one of them looking for me. They said, the paperwork said the 24th, that I had to be there the 28th, and then it was the 27th. I said, I can't make it there, that's tomorrow. So I don't know. From the look of it, it was 4 days.
And I want to be specific.
Ariel?
Yes, when we talk about a raid, we're talking about when a subpoena is served for documents, a search warrant or an arrest warrant. In this situation, Mr. Burgess was not in any way, shape, or form had a search warrant or an arrest warrant issued for him. It was just them serving a subpoena. So when the federal government needs to serve a subpoena, they use the Marshal Service to come to all of your residences if you have more than one resident.
According to Courtney, Kim was part of the effort to seek justice. Courtney claims that Kim and Cassie, yes, the same Cassie who supposedly promised to take action against Diddy for his actions, had pledged to bring justice to Kim, who had allegedly witnessed and experienced some of Diddy's darker side. Kim's journals, it seems, painted a completely different picture of Diddy than the one we see on television. Furthermore, Courtney claims her writings are very damning. In fact, he states there is a note in the journal that reads, "I want this story to come out if something happens to me." People are left wondering what Kim knew and why she felt the need to spread this story so urgently. No one else must have witnessed what she did. It's understandable why Kim wanted to leave, and why her memoir is so well guarded if this is the case.
What you received on the flash drives, was it the completed book, or was it notes from Kim Porter that later were made into a book?
It was completed. It's only 60, only about 54 pages.
Sure, and in the beginning, it says, Kim made me promise that if something happened to her, I would make sure this book became public to the world. The way Sean moved, I knew that was a promise I would have to fulfill. Kim knew I was a woman of my word, and this book was going to make it to print. So it sounds like it is a woman who wrote up the notes from Kim Porter. Does that sound accurate?
It's how you read it, yes. I haven't even read the book.
Do you know who the woman is?
No.
And to be clear, he received it in its complete form. So I think just to make sure we have some clarity here, the manuscript that Mr. Burgess received was already in its complete form. It's not that he edited it or changed anything.
Got it.
He did give it to someone else who then edited it, but that's not how he received it.
Kim reportedly placed the book in capable hands, knowing that people would eventually need to hear her side of the tale, according to Courtney's statements. You know, it's like something from a thriller film, but this isn't fiction. And it's not just Kim. According to reports, Diddy spent his life on top, unchallenged and untouchable until now, while Cassie, J-Lo, and others were subjected to years of manipulation. Recall that the Kim scenario lately became much more dubious. It seems that Diddy's children attempted to denounce this biography as phony and even issued a statement. They claim that someone else put it together to make it appear as though Kim said it, but Borges is adamant that it is authentic. He claims that someone close to Kim gave him the document personally, and that the individual reassured him that it was genuine.
Will be exposed.
I mean, when I walk in, I definitely take pride in being the originator of the preparation of the little things that I personally like. A lot of ladies, they just, you know, so if you don't have what they need, they're gonna leave.
Right.
Gotta keep them there.
Right.
You need locks on the doors.
P. Diddy be wanting the body, and you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. All of these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is.
To be honest, nobody knows what's true at this point, but as things stand, this manuscript could blow the lid off Diddy's entire image. Speaking of Diddy's children, Courtney claimed that he even involved his sons. He even describes a particular instance in which Justin, Diddy's son, was essentially coerced into participating in some strange birthday ritual while downing a drink that Courtney suggests may have been laced with something. According to his description, Justin was completely out of it afterward, and he then says, "I think it was GHP. If you know that GHP isn't something you mess with. It's known for taking people out of their minds, essentially turning them into puppets, and Courtney's claim that Diddy was using this to control people is horrifying." According to Courtney Borges, This baby oil mix that Diddy allegedly used could render people submissive, almost like puppet. The suggestion here is shocking. It wasn't just for private purposes, but supposedly to control people's actions and make them more compliant at his parties and events? It's a disturbing thought, especially since some people might have been unaware of what was happening to them. The idea that someone would manipulate others on such a level is deeply unsettling. And as if things couldn't get darker, Courtney claims that these practices weren't hidden from Diddy's inner circle. Allegedly, several people close to Diddy were well aware of what was happening, but because of the power he held and the influence he wielded, no one dared to challenge him.
Ever been to one of Diddy parties?
Yeah, I've been in attendance. Not, hey, what working for?
How you saying that?
I ain't been in attendance.
We never been. We just asked.
Yeah. I mean, it's a party. I wasn't at one of them parties. I have been in attendance at a puff party. You know what I'm saying? I've been in attendance. Yeah. The party I went to, it was girls just turn up. You know what I'm saying? The regular. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's crazy. Did you know?
You know what lying when you say I ain't been to one of them parties. Wait, what party?
I have been to the house parties where there have been extra police working as security, armed security. Think about it. Beyonce's on the other side of the gate. Jay-Z's on the other side of the gate. People are trying to get in that party. Every major celebrity, the Kardashians on the other side of the gate, where Tyrese is performing and Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher are swinging on swings. First Diddy party I went to was at Prince's house. So you want to go to Prince's house to the Diddy party. Diddy didn't let you bring your security in the party. That is the one thing that I thought was odd. I mean, I saw Jay-Z and TD Jakes in there, every major celebrity you can think of who may or may not get along. You know, I came one time with my security and no other security other than Diddy's security is allowed to be inside. See this unfold. My wonder is, well, why weren't people able to have their protection? Diddy is not the only person that has these parties where they have people ranking a bunch of women. What happens after everybody's gone? These guys want to have a bunch of women around, and what happens when you mix that and other things when the regular party goes home?
He supposedly manipulated and intimidated people into silence, protecting his reputation while keeping disturbing secrets hidden from public view. To add to this, Courtney claims that Diddy had extensive measures in place to ensure no one could easily reveal his secrets. For instance, he was known to make everyone at his gathering sign NAS, non-disclosure agreements, which legally bound them to silence.
And she died in, I would say, rather mysterious circumstances. A woman named Kim Porter. Now, what happened was she mysteriously died of pneumonia at the age of 47. That Diddy had something to do with the death of his ex-partner and the mother to his children. Just when they are about to publish a tell-all book on their very famous ex, Diddy. It claims to be a collection of the diaries of Kim Porter, the mother of Diddy's children. Well, guess what? It was just announced yesterday that Kim's Porter's book is being published. It's a 60-page book. It was leaked by her friend.
Combined with the alleged presence of cameras recording everything, it seems, Diddy maintained a tight grip on people, leaving them with no easy way out. One of the most unsettling claims is about how far Diddy allegedly went to maintain this grip. According to Courtney, anyone who got too close to the truth or tried to challenge him faced serious consequences, whether through threats, intimidation, or more sinister means. Courtney suggests that some people may have even disappeared from public life or suffered greatly just for being close to these dark revelations.
Alcohol.
Right.
Alcohols.
Right.
Oh no, I don't know if guys have noticed this. Like a lot of ladies drink water at parties. They gotta keep them there.
Right.
You need locks on the doors. Broccoli, but just check it out. You need a lot of heat. A lot of heat. Heat affects the alcohol, and it also affects, like, everybody gets a little bit more comfortable and loose. Builds up a nice little sweat. Depends on the way you look at it.
People start getting it gets kind of sexy. Is that what you're saying?
It's for inspirational motivation and uses only. You know what I'm saying? You don't know a lot of black men that come from the hood. They got an island. I got an island called Love Island. Yeah, I have an island. What was going through your head when we were going there?
I was finna go to war by this nigga, he mad.
When I took you to Love Island, and then you realized that, the plane landed, and then we had to float to another island. What was your favorite time that I took you off the grid? When you going off the grid with me, you got to go to sleep for a week.
Yeah, because it's definitely giving us